Hello, well it's November and it's time for a plot tour. Now it's gone 3 o'clock and the temperature on the allotment has dropped. I'm finding that I need to come early in the morning from about 9 o'clock onwards, otherwise it just gets too cold in the afternoon to come down. So let's have a look at what the plot is looking like in November. So we'll start off in the shed. The kettle has had quite a lot of use recently with cups of tea, but the site water has been switched off now, so I need to start bringing water down in bottles. Now, over the last few weeks I've been concentrating on one area of the plot in particular. I will show you that in a moment, but just look at the growth. A lot of plants have sort of had a second burst as if it was springtime, and the grape has put on some great growth, now turning into its autumnal colours. And I have moved one plant. This plant here is the Christmas box which I bought winter last year, or winter this year I think it was, and I've moved that because it needs a bit of shade, and that's the perfect spot. So much so that it's even started to develop berries, which I don't think humans can eat, but the birds have been eating them. Now this section here, a lot of stuff has been thrown in the skip when the skip came the other week. There's still a few bits that need to go. I just need to sort it out. But like I said, I've been spending my time on one section of the plot. Now this salvia, if you remember, I planted this a couple of months ago, and it's put it on great growth, and it just won't stop flowering. And the bees, because they're still about, yesterday I actually saw a bumblebee on my clematis. It was busy collecting the pollen, so there's still bees around. And my lavender there, nice clumps it's staying into, and again new growth. Same thing with my blueberry. I'm getting new sets of leaves on all the tips, and over here these are some plants that Gladys gave me, and again they're developing new shoots as well, which is all highly unusual for this time of year. My wallflowers and violas are putting on a great display there, and it's nice to smell them when I turn up on the plot. So the compost bins, nothing's changed up there, just them getting full. I do need to sort an issue out that I've noticed this morning. One of these compost bins is so full now that the bottom has actually come away, because I couldn't find where the bungee cord was to put it. If you look over there, you'll see there's a bungee cord on the bottom, and that is just to stop the bottom door from opening. So I need to sort that out. What I think I might do is I might empty it and put it into the large compost bin next door to it. These are some things that are going to the bonfire. We had a bonfire the other night for bonfire night, but it was rather big, so I didn't put this wood on. Plus there's some good bits in there that I would want to keep, but the top few panels can go on the next bonfire. Same as with this bit of wood down here. It's too good to put on the fire, so I'll keep that and I'll use it for something else. I'm just storing it in that place at the moment in order to allow all the slowworms and the voles that live in underneath there. And also because a cat has been turning up here. Every time I visit there's a cat, so they've got somewhere nice to go and hide. Now this was going to be a pond, but I've sort of put that idea on hold because it's become a dumping ground for all the work that I've been doing this month, which I will show you when we go down. One of the problems I've got at the moment is It's been so wet that the plot is just muddy, and it doesn't take long to start slipping and sliding. So this is what I've been up to over the last few weeks, turning over this new bed. It's 10 by 12. I would have liked to have finished it by the time I did this tour for you, but like I said, this section here is what I've tried to turn over today, and it's just so claggy because we've had rain constantly that I've sort of put a hold on it. So hopefully I can get that done in the next week. It just depends with the weather. But I have been sowing, and in this row here I've put 2 rows of broad beans called Bunyard's Exhibition, and where the string is, that is where I will put the next row of beans. But I want to try and find a floorboard, a scaffolding board that I can put down so that I don't walk on the soil, because in this type of weather you want to stay off the exposed soil as much as possible. Let's just wait for the train to pass. There is a row of shallots in there. Nothing showing so far. We are getting some frosty nights. And I put some birdseed in here, and I realised that I made a mistake because the birdseed is falling into the coal frame. So I've moved everything that was in the coal frame, and I've sort of developed this new little section here in the seed area. So I had some old shelving units, so I've put them there, and these are shallots and onions and a freesia. I'm really surprised to see the freesias come back, so I'm going to leave it there. It seems quite happy. There's some more shoots coming up. Broad beans in the back, and a geranium, which is an outdoor one, so that can stay there. But what I've done is I've taken some old bits of perspex and I've sort of made a mini greenhouse, and in here are the items that were in the coal frame. So I've only made this today, and it'll be interesting to see the temperatures in the next few days. So the warmest it's been in here, 16 degrees, and it's currently 10, so it's going to be a cold night tonight. We put that back to 0. So I've been cleaning this up as well as cleaning the shed. Let's have a look inside the veggie pod. I've decided to use this now for my strawberries. I do love strawberries, but I just think it's a bit of a waste to have them in one of the open beds, because they take up so much space for only, what is it, a month or 2. So they're going to stay in here. And what I'm thinking about doing is something very similar to what I've done on this side with this shelving unit. I'm going to see if I can find something so I can build like a second shelf. So the strawberries will be there. There may be up here be a second shelf for me to put some more seedlings in. I seem to be having chives jumping all over the place. I had a sandwich for my dinner today, and I chopped some chives from the bed and put them straight in the sandwich. Let's just wait for this train to pass. It's a busy day with the trains. It's not very warm in here, 10 degrees. These were apples. There was an apple tree. Well, there is still an apple tree in front of my plot on somebody else's plot, and I love the apples that are on there. So I've taken them, and from what I read, it's going to be quite a few years, about 7 years before we'll get any apples. And I was given some sedum plants from Gladys the other day. I've just popped them in there. and my pelargoniums. Now last year I left them in here and they survived the winter outside, so I'm tempted to do the same again this year. They need to be tidied up and all these bits taken off, and because if you don't do that then you run the risk of the police coming. You run the risk of disease getting in, and in the winter one of the tricks is to get a lot of air flowing around your plants. So just go through them and give them a clean up. Right, I'll do that later. What I may do is, because this one down here is really sturdy, I might just take one of them home and as a bit of a backup plan. But like you would have seen in the new little greenhouse that I've got, I've put two in there just to brighten it up a bit. But look at these colours. One's orange, one's pink. And I'm thinking I might just leave them in there. Just going back to one thing I started. So these cornflowers, these were the seeds I did a few weeks ago. But the problem was the cornflowers had a lot of birdseed on top. So now I'm a bit confused by what I've actually got. I can tell that some of them are cornflowers because you can still see the seed husk. But I will have to keep an eye on them. But I think I'm quite impressed by this little thing that I've done. And I've done it so that you can take you just slide that out. And then it comes free. So if it starts to get too hot, I can just take that down. Because I don't want them to be too cosseted. There we go. So inside the shed I've done a bit of cleaning of that as well. Something, just before we go into the shed, one thing I'm trying to do next year is to reduce my plastic. So I won't be buying any more plastic products. I've got some that I've had from over the years that I've saved, and if I hear of anybody down here who wants pots, then I can give them. But I'm not going to throw them out because some of them are really sturdy and will last me about 10 or 20 years. But moving forward, when I do need things, I will be buying terracotta pots. They look good. I love the feel and the sound of them. The only difference with the terracotta is you have to water them a lot more, because obviously the water goes into the pot as well. So at the height of summer, what you do is you go along, you get a pencil and you can tap it, and you can tell by the tap whether they need to be watered or not. So let's have a quick look inside the shed. My thermometer there is broken. In fact, it got so hot during the summer that it snapped. Now I'm not going to show you the floor because that's where the toilet is, and I'm sure you don't want to see the toilet. But I did a bit of a clean up in here the other day, and somebody was getting rid of these crates, which are really good, in fact, especially for drying onions and potatoes. So I had some of them, and it could do with another clean, to be honest. But it'll do for now. I'm finding in the winter it's quite nice to stay up the top end of the plot here. Because of the blackness of the shed, it obviously attracts the heat. So it's quite a nice little spot there to be sat there of an afternoon when the rest of the plot is quite cold. So this bed, as you can see, a lot of the weeds have gone down to that pile down there. And also I started cutting out this second bed, and a lot of the soil I'm putting on the side here, and this will be a built-up flower bed. The rose has been putting on some great growth over the last few weeks. Like I said, everything seems to have flushed back into growth again, and there's another pile of earth there which will rot down, and I'll throw some wildflower seeds on that. Now, something that is putting a beautiful show on at the moment is the clematis variety Lansdowne Gem, and this is the one where the bumblebee was over it yesterday, and this will now flower until next spring. Look at that crimson. So yes, on the one hand it feels like not a lot has happened, but on the other hand quite a bit has happened, but it's all happened in the one space in that bed. It's just a shame, like I said, that I couldn't have finished it off before I filmed this. I have put the November tour off for a few days, hoping that the weather would get better, but it just didn't. So, but I can actually see now the shape of the garden and the feel of it. So there'll be a path here, and then you turn to the right and there's another path. The reason why this sheet of plastic is here is for no apparent reason whatsoever. It's just there as somewhere to store it. It's not there for anything in particular. It's quite nice to sit down here in the morning, because this is where the sun is in the morning, and it's just nice to sit, have a cup of tea. A few of the members have started to come over for tea when the kettle's on in the morning. One thing I've had to start doing is, this is where I put my seat to sit outside my shed, and it is sinking. Anywhere I put the seat, the two back legs sink into the ground, so I had to put a bit of scrap wood down to stop my embarrassment, because there's been some days when we've been sat here drinking tea and I'm nearly a foot off the ground, and then it's been quite difficult to get up. One thing that I've been observing over the last few weeks are these trees just beyond the allotment in the local park. I've watched them go from green to autumnal shades, and now literally in the last 24 hours they've started dropping. A sure sign that winter is very fast approaching. It's also that time of year again where extra layers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of clothes on, because even though the sun is out, like I said, once it goes behind those trees or behind a cloud, it gets really cold really quickly. So I'm now going to bid you farewell, and I'm going to head off home and have a quick cup of tea and jump in the bath to warm up. So from me, until next time, tell me in the comments below, what are you up to at this time of year, and I'll have a chat with you there. So until next time from me, bye for now.